Lovely to see you all. It's fabulous for you all to be here. Welcome. Um, well, it's gone 8 o'clock my time, which was my advertised starting time. So we'll get underway. We may have a few others will pop in. My hope this morning or this evening, whatever time you're in, was really just for us to get to know each other, what we're doing, what channels are around, and begin having the conversation. So, welcome to you all. I'll kick off just because I'll give you a sense of what I'm looking for. Obviously, I've got 12 people registered for this morning, which gives us about 5 minutes each. So try and be as succinct as you possibly can with your introductions. But it would be great to hear what everybody is doing. So I just wanted to you know, let us know what your channel is, how long you've been going, if you have any aims or goals or a vision for your channel. And you can talk about a bit about the growth that you're seeing and the challenges that you're seeing. And let's just get to know each other. Um, my name is David. I'm in Melbourne. I run Swedenborg Community Victoria. We have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We have X, which is going absolutely nowhere. So I'd be interested in if anybody has any suggestions on X. I've been in Melbourne since 2020. I came from Canberra, having spent 14 years as doing ministry on the side. I was teaching piano for 14 years. Got the invitation to Melbourne and came to Melbourne with the intention to begin streaming. And what happened was we landed in 2020. Within about a month and a half, we were locked down in COVID. And so the good thing for us was the streaming got going straight away because we had to. It was the only way we could meet. Um, and then from that, the YouTube channel has come out. I try to be as efficient as possible in terms of, I live stream, then I cut the sermon down to an standalone video, which then gets cut down into shorts. So that's what we're doing. And then I've started up doing a midweek video as well, which is where we're getting our traction. So the things like the Euphrates River, those sorts of things where I'm sitting talking at a camera, um, has been my sort of biggest success, I suppose, bringing people into the channel. So that's kind of a potted me. That's what we're doing. Oh, aims. I just want to say too, aside from being as efficient as possible with my use of time and material, I have in mind the atheist slash deconstructing Christianity crowd. They're kind of in my mind, but with the revelation stuff we've been doing, obviously there's a big interest in that sort of area, and that's where we're seeing most of our traction. So look, that's us. I'm going to move across to Howard um, in Sydney. I'll let you talk about your channel, mate.
Okay, thank you. Unmuted, right?
Yep, can hear you.
Hi, everybody. Actually, I had no idea all these wonderful people were going to be on here, so it's good to see you all. My channel, Spiritual Shorts, not unlike Dave's in the sense that Dave had some intentionality around it. I was forced into it. I got here. I'm in Sydney, Australia. I know I don't sound like it. Um, and I landed here in 2018 and just was trying to get a handle on the society. A year passes, a little over a year passes, and just as I think we're about to put my stamp on the society, we get COVID. Um, and I recall for a number of years people saying, "Oh, you should live stream or you should put stuff up on YouTube." And generally a very self-conscious individual with low self-esteem, I didn't think I could do that, and at least nothing worth putting up. But then I got forced into it. So I'm a reluctant YouTuber. I started with 15, 20-minute mini services for people to watch when they were locked down at home, and they could. I did everything that you do in a service. I opened the Word, I said a prayer, I gave a reading, and I did a message. When people could return to service, um, it became very obvious that a lot of people that were watching were former members of the society who had moved away. I shouldn't say former members, current members, but no longer live nearby. And the church asked that I continue that for those people, which I thought was great. Uh, Changed the format a few times. And then Curtis and Todd Beiswinger and some others were saying you should really do something more with your channel. You should really do something more with your channel. You should really do something more with your channel. So a number of months of conversations, not completely, but largely tried to transform the channel back in, well, effectively September 1st. So I went from one simple message every week. Now I produce 5 videos a week. One is my weekly message, which is no longer 15 or 20 minutes, it's 5 or 7 minutes. I'm walking through step by step every number of heaven and hell. I've got a series going on there that comes out once a week. That's 3 to 4 minute snippets. And then I produce three shorts a week. Two of those shorts are just clips from the longer videos, and one is a unique clip on some doctrinal point. Try to make them witty, try to make them eye-catching. I caught a lot of flack with the latest one, which is I'm telling the world that Adam and Eve aren't real. That was a fun one. At least the reactions to it were fun. Where am I going? What are my aims? That's a really good question, because I'm coming to the realization that, you know, the channel itself is kind of growing beyond its original mission of just being a vehicle for the local congregation. And what do I do with that? So I'm kind of wrestling with that. I certainly see it as an outreach, an opportunity to spread a positive message of Christianity into the world, one that's not out there, particularly given the reaction to my latest video. Modern day Christians are interesting. And the growth I'm seeing, well, the growth has all been in the last 4 months, since September. I was, in double digits, 75, 80 people as of September 1st, and now I'm heading towards 250. It's not exponential growth, but it's numbers. So it's been quite the adventure.
Cool. Thanks, Howard. That's
Yeah.
great. Curtis, you were in next, mate, so you can tell us about your channel if we need introduction, if it needs
Sure.
introduction.
So I have been doing a channel called Off the Left Eye since November of 2010. So forever, basically. We're on mainly it's on YouTube. We do have Facebook. We do put some effort there. And then yeah, TikTok, Instagram, little things. No, our X is going nowhere as well, David. You were wondering, but we tried X and Blue Sky and Rumble and all the new platform, and nothing's really happening on those. So yeah, what we do right now is we do a like hour and a half or a little longer podcast every Monday, a video podcast, and then we'll get everything we can out of that. So we'll cut that up into 5 shorts, and we'll put it out on the full thing out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that. We'll also pull a couple of clips from that, and then we'll do a few other things to promote it. Um, yeah, where I hope to go with it is I want to go this year. I'm hoping to sort of really launch into just from Off the Left Eye to more of what I'm calling the Off the Left Eye network. So I think we have kind of a second channel we had played around with, like a reaction channel. I think we're going to sort of rebrand that and get it up, talk a little bit more current events kind of stuff on there. I want to launch maybe an Off the Left Eye 2. It's more of like a panel discussion kind of channel. Also, though, I want to start being more helpful to other Swedenborgian creators. So I hope that this year I'll be able to launch what I want to call an affiliates program, where if anybody wants to work with us, I mean, Howard, you mentioned like you and I connected once or twice. I gave you, we just picked up a lot of stuff on the way over these last 10 years. Just I know what it's like to be trying YouTube. I know what it's like to watch numbers and see them go up and down. I know we know some things about titling and thumbnailing, and what I'd love to do is um, just help use that sort of we spent all this time getting that, and I want to give it to people who are trying to spread Swedenborg. So hopefully this year we can start doing we just got to figure out a few things at Swedenborg Foundation, but then hopefully we could start doing this affiliates program where I would come to anyone who's interested, and we'd give you help, and then in return you can let your audience know about us, and we'll let our audience know about you, and hopefully we can just accelerate that, make it easier to become a Swedenborgian creator, so that's what I'm hoping to do in 2025.
Thanks, Curtis. I'm looking forward to that program starting up. So you put us on the mailing list. Sage, you were in next. I might get you to introduce yourself and your activity.
Great, thank you. So I'm Sage Cole. I'm here in Boston. I'm a minister in the General Convention. And I'm probably filling a slightly different niche than some of you. In last fall, I launched a new virtual ministry that was about gathering on Zoom. I think I'm not necessarily in the camp of being really motivated about sharing Swedenborg's teachings, but exploring the vision of the new church. And I think my audience is sort of the idea that the new church is emerging everywhere, especially in the Gentiles. So I'm really I'm very motivated by and inspired by the life of Helen Keller. And my ministry is called the Helen Keller Spiritual Life Collaborative. We just incorporated it as a nonprofit this January. And the vision of this collaborative is that it fulfills Helen's vision of life, which was to kind of work with people of all beliefs to lessen the suffering of God's children. While at the same time, as we know, she was devoted to Swedenborg's teachings, and he tells us how we can do that, how we can lessen the suffering of God's children. So I offer Zoom gatherings. I do a lot of live streaming on Facebook. I have a Facebook group that I manage called Be Loved, Be Honest, Be Useful, which is sort of the model of meeting that I have launched, grounded in our doctrine of God as love, wisdom, and usefulness. So I do that. And then I also have a Substack that is called Worship is Life. And the Substack is where I write articles about my own regenerative journey. And I also do an interview series, a podcast, the Be Love podcast that comes out every Tuesday. And I'm just interviewing different humans, many of them directly connected to the new church, others peripherally who are going through this journey of learning how to love. So that's who I am. I also have a big live event coming up in March. It's going to be in celebration of Helen's spiritual birthday, when she and Annie Sullivan first met, March 3rd. It'll be March 3rd to the 8th. It'll be totally virtual. Our PR is getting hung up because we are considering people with low vision, and we did bad color schemes. And anyway, hopefully it will come out in the next week, and we'd love any help that you can offer. And we hope you'll join us. We really are trying to bring in many different kinds of collaborators, and this can be sort of an incubation space to consider new ways of being the new church, what the new church means individually and collectively. So that's me. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Sage. Make sure you put that details for those meetings on the network Facebook group, so we can all put it out there. I think that sounds great.
Thank you. Great.
Thanks very much. Might move across to John. John, you might need to unmute, and it looks like your video is a bit glitchy. Let's see. Has John frozen up? Looks like John's frozen. Oh, I'm getting some movement now. But you'll need to unmute, John.
Technical difficulties.
Looks like it. Oh,
That
no.
we come back.
All right, John, if it's all right seeing, I might just move on to someone else then. Liz, you're next on my list for some reason.
I think you should defer to Roz. I'm her employee, so she should probably explain our channel, Deborah's Tree, before I explain what I do for it.
Okay, let's do that then. Roz.
Hi, I'm Roz, coming to you from Brinathan, Pennsylvania. But soon I'll be coming to you from Australia, David. I'm going to be there next week.
It'd be great to see you.
Anyway, okay, so I have two ministries. The home church in Brinathan is a physical group that meets. We have a Zoom, but it's, not many people join on Zoom. But at the first Saturday of the month, we have a brunch with a speaker, which is filmed and which is also on Zoom. And so the video from the brunch is then used in my other ministry, which is Deborah's Tree. People conflate them all the time because I'm for both of them, but they really are separate. Anyway, okay, Deborah's Tree. It's funny how COVID has come up so often. This was a COVID project of mine. It was a dream I had in the back of my mind, and so, incorporated and did all the work during COVID. It's a ministry that promotes the work of female Swedenborgian New Church speakers, writers, clergy, artists, scholars. So lifting up women's voices, which traditionally in most branches, or maybe all of the branches, I don't know, of the Swedenborgian community, women's voices haven't necessarily been heard as much. And so we have a website, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. We were on X, we got off because of Elon Musk, basically. But also, it was doing well for us. Not so much the videos, but the text stuff, the little articles that we put up were doing well on X. But we got out of that probably in the middle of last year. So I don't know how we would be doing now if we stayed there. So on the website, so we do a video, a spiritual reflection video by a female clergy once a week. And that goes on all of those channels. We do what we call an excerpted inspiration, which is an excerpt of literature that has some kind of spiritual theme, couple paragraphs with illustration. That goes up once a week. And then the brunches that I mentioned for the home church, we also post those on our website and all those other places. I think that the brunches, the videos from the brunches are probably the ones that are viewed the most. That's what my impression. And I was getting kind of worried because we'd plateaued or even started sort of dipping in our numbers, and our numbers are nowhere close to the ones you guys are talking about. But just recently, the website's always stayed pretty stable. But anyway, Facebook started doing better. So it's the up and down game, and it may be better not to just focus on the numbers all the time and just keep doing your work, because I love doing this work and I feel like eventually, we're reaching out. Now we do have a goal to reach, because right now we're very much focused on the Swedenborgian community around the world. But I do have a goal to expand more specifically to women of faith type of communities and women, spiritual women, but beyond. It's not really a ministry for women, it's a ministry for everyone, for the benefit of everyone, so that you can hear women's voices. I don't know, that's all I can think of right now. The challenges for us are like getting the videos out, and Liz can definitely talk about the sort of the technical challenges, but our community is growing. There's some really encouraging things.
Thanks, Roz. We might pass across to Liz then.
Okay, hi, I'm Liz Cuffs. I work for Deborah's Tree, or Roz specifically. She is the boss of me. Um, I, when I was a young person, before most of this technology came around, I was a playwright, and my goal in life was to make content that appealed and promoted Swedenborgian ideas more, I guess, subtly. Like, I was always frustrated as a kid that we didn't have representation in any media. There was never a Swedenborgian character. Recently, there's been one in the Things Heard and Seen movie, but it wasn't good representation because we were doing seances or something like that. Was greatly disappointing to me. But I work with Roz. I help uplift women's voices, and I am not a minister. I'm a technician and also a sociologist. And my mentors were Cynthia Walker and Jane Williams Hogan in Bernathen. And Cynthia is a historian, and Jane, who has passed, was a sociologist. So I'm more interested in like the cultural content and like what can we record that's going on here. So if 50 years from now somebody's like, hey, I wonder what was going on with that Swedenborgian community, like what were those people thinking about? They'll have our brunch events. I am much better at hauling cameras out and recording everything than I am at video editing. I do edit the videos. The long form ones are quite a challenge because they're getting a computer processor and a software that wants to edit really long videos is often expensive and difficult. The secondary thing is I also make some videos. We have meditation videos, which are done by me, and they're sort of shot 10-minute shots of nature, so you can just watch some nature. And I've tagged them all prison ministry because I read an article that says that prisoners, if they get to watch nature while they're in prison, they will come out less psychologically damaged from that experience. So that's sort of a new thing that I'm experimenting with. And I'm also pondering, like, is there a way to communicate with people who run prisons and say, look, here, we have this, you can see it. So that's the two things I am resolved to do in the new year are get better at editing videos and consistently releasing edited videos, particularly our long form brunch ones, because those are the most popular. And maybe see if there's ways to contact people who might be interested in our videos and just more directly advertise to them and see how that goes. Yeah. Any questions? That's who I
Thanks,
am.
Liz.
Mhm.
That's great. We might try and go back to John. Let's see if John's working now.
Hello.
Hey, I can hear you, John.
Sorry for the glitchy computer. Yeah, sorry for the glitchy computer.
That's all right.
Yeah, so I don't create content, but I hope to. I'm going to start working for Curtis, volunteer in April, and one of the things he's asked me to do is to help support this community. So I hope that he has some things for me to do there. I also want to, help support my wife and what she does in Off the Left Eye. So I'm looking forward to a new career here starting in April.
So, John, just to clarify, when you say support this community, are you talking the Off the Left Eye community, or are you talking the network?
Both. I think Curtis has asked me to get involved with this 100 Off the Left Eyes out into the world thing, which I think is awesome. And I'm starting to enjoy your guys' content that I'm seeing. And yeah, I hope to help with that process in any way I can, starting in April timeframe. Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous to hear. I've certainly appreciated noting your comments on the videos we've produced. So thanks for what you've already done. That's fabulous.
Thanks.
I might move across to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark. This is my wife.
I'm Karen.
We are up in Carndale in Canada, and we're working here at the Carmel New Church. So we have a YouTube channel, which we live stream our Sunday services on, and then Karen takes that video and makes a shorts out of it, and that then goes into our Facebook and Instagram account. So that's currently what we're doing. And then we are we have a desire to do something more, and we're sort of in the planning process of trying to put together something that is more sort of life-based. So looking at the challenges that we face in our lives and trying to make the Swedenborg principles practical, and how do we help people in their day-to-day life. So that's something that we're thinking about. It's going to be sort of, we don't know yet. It's probably going to be something separate from Carmel. So Carmel will still continue doing what we're doing, and we want to create something separate. The reason being because Karen is going to probably head that up and be a face on it and be talking on it. And if it's under the church, it may not be received. Anyway, politics. So we're creating something different, but still something that we feel drawn to do. You want to add something to that?
No, I think we just want to try and find ways to share what can be quite complicated information in a way that's usable in the moment, sort of simple tools people can take into life. And I think we have a lot to offer. It's just
how to do that,
get that done,
framing it in the right way. Yeah, fabulous. Thank you very much. Thanks. And all the best, and make sure you do, post on the network what your developments, so we're all aware of those. That's great. I might move on now to Sarah. Sarah has got up extremely early in the morning. It's only what is it, 5:30 in the morning in Perth?
Yeah, it's 5:30. Yeah. So my alarm went off at 4:30. It's fine. Summer, yes, it goes lightly early. I am Sarah Walker. I'm in Perth, Western Australia. I work with David Miller with the Australian New Church College. And the majority, I'd say about 90% of the activity is logopraxis. And last year we actually split that into two websites. We've got a logopraxis praxis site, which is for practitioners, and then we also now have the Logopraxis Institute, which is open to the public. There's a lot of information on there, and there's no commitment for anyone to come in and have a look around, and they can just come and go as they please in there. And there's articles, meditations. There's a lot of short courses that we're putting in there now too. Social media wise, we do have a presence. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And we've just started making a whole lot of videos on YouTube just middle of last year. But to be honest, social media is not a main part of the focus. I'm funded for 15 hours a week. And the majority of that work is editing and I guess producing short audios that are taken from recordings of the Logopraxis life groups running three rounds. So the third round is using more of a a place where people ask questions, discuss what they've been working with, specifically related to the text, which most of us are reading the AC. So the third round podcast that comes out are short audios taken from that over a number of groups. So my work mainly is taking them from a number of groups, slicing together and editing them. I spend a lot of time in Audacity. So they are on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and they also come out on an email every 3 days. And then I have for a long time thought I could probably make short Facebook and Instagram posts from those. So they're like a really not watered down. What's the word?
A soundbite?
Yeah, kind of. But it's more like the essence of the flavor, because I have to modify them as well. And I started off trying to make them very general for more just the esoteric seeker without too much Swedenborgian terminology. I often use the word divine instead of the Lord. But again, I haven't really pushed that too much, and it's kind of more ended up being reinforcement for practitioners, the people that are liking it. Like I get maybe 7 likes on an Instagram post and a couple on a Facebook. So my thinking in that is I'm just going to keep producing it because it's like an extension of the work that I'm already doing. We've got a presence, but I really don't think we aren't early funnel, put it that way. We are not for the early seeker. We're more for someone that has already had quite a bit of reading in the doctrines, and they want to go a little bit deeper, or they want to and then Logopraxis has its own kind of self-filtering. After you can't sit in a group for very long and not practice. And if you're not there for practice, then it just naturally people just drop out. So yeah, we've probably got about 60 people online worldwide practicing, and maybe another 20, maybe another 30 face-to-face around the world. So yeah.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. It's great to hear about. Joe, I think you're bringing up the rear, my friend.
Well, with a surname like that, I generally always do. That's what you get for coming from Holland. I'm Joe Vandermeer. I live in Sydney, Australia, and I prior to my engagement with Swedenborg material, I was a musician. Worked for 35 years in IT as a professional, and ran a company which taught creative learning and innovation. So, and that included video editing and other things like that, production stuff. In 1987, I came across Swedenborg and very quickly loved it dearly. And I was introduced to it by a mentor that I had called Dr. Philip Groves, who some of you might have heard of. And then in 2016, I got the job of directing the Swedenborg Centre in Sydney. And that was mainly live at that time, people meeting for events, particularly running a bookshop and a library, just a kind of a drop-in centre. And I've since cranked up the drop-in centre, conversational approach as a key thing that we do, have conversations with people and link their experiences to Swedenborg content, even if we don't mention Swedenborg directly necessarily. And since COVID, just before COVID, we started doing more stuff online, live, like, streaming it online. And of course, that only got better and better since then. And currently, I run about 200 hybrid meetings a year, roughly. So that's people live at the centre as well as people online participating in the same event. And we have a fairly lively group of attendees. They're only small groups, generally from about 5 people to maybe 12 or 15 at the most for any event. roughly, about 7, 8, 9, 10-ish per meeting. I'm not a minister, and yet I'm on 4 different boards. So I like networking. I like coming up with ideas. I like collaborating. But I know that I'm the sort of person who likes diversity. I'm involved in a lot of groups outside of Swedenborg material, and I like spreading the word, or the ideas at least, to those groups, and bring the energy of those groups back to Swedenborg material. I like getting things started and then generally end up handing them over, because I'm only a one-person operation, and then move on to something new. But I seem to have settled into this online events kind of stuff pretty much. We do have a Facebook presence, Swedenborg AU, which stands for Australia, of course. Facebook/Swedenborg AU, and we have a YouTube channel which is very slow moving, which is YouTube/Swedenborg AU, or at Swedenborg AU, I think it is. But Swedenborg AU will find it. And I maintain the website, which is swedenborg.com.au, which has quite a lot of content and lots of links to other people's content. And I'm aware of the changing landscape out there in terms of people visiting websites, but I feel that even if our contents and links and material is served indirectly, I don't really mind. So if Google wants to keep people away from visiting my website but still give them the answers, I don't really care. Sorry, that's like my approach to it. I'm not going to try and keep people on my site per se for any reason. So what are my aims? I'm interested in spiritual teachings, and I'm not necessarily loyal to Swedenborg per se, except that I find Swedenborg, out of all the streams that I've engaged in over my life, I find him the clearest, the most extensive, the most coherent, the deepest in terms of content. So I really am loyal to Swedenborg for that reason. I'm not interested in necessarily mentioning Swedenborg's name a lot, except that it might get people interested in the ideas. So for me, that's really a link point. I'm also across several groups, or involved in several groups that do Gurdjieff work, which is fourth way, similar, very big overlap with Swedenborg material. They have a lot of rigorous practices and methods, and I like making use of those, and I like giving them more of the cosmological, spiritual content that Swedenborg provides. So I'm trying to be a bridge between those kind of groups. I was introduced to both of those, Swedenborg and Gurdjieff, at the same time in 1987 by Dr. Philip Groves, and I still find Dr. Philip Groves is my mentor in terms of how to translate Swedenborg teachings into a living content that is running my life. And for me, that's my main driver, and always will be. And I find him, Dr. Groves, a very, very insightful source for seeing how I can do that still. He wrote a number of books. He gave hundreds of lectures, and I'd say that probably about 40% of my audience is people who either knew Dr. Groves or read his material. About 10% of my audience are Gurdjieffians, and about 60% are pure Swedenborg people. Yeah, that's pretty much me. I think we're early funnel for sure, small funnel. My main stuff is live events, which go for 2 hours a piece. They're all up on the website. They're easy to join. It's just click on the join Zoom link. I don't hide Zoom links or get people to subscribe or buy tickets or whatever. For me, simple is good. It works, makes it accessible, and I can handle any problems that will occur if that invites the wrong people, which it never has so far. So I work fairly closely with, particularly with Howard, because we're in the same space. In fact, Howard lives in the building where the Swedenborg Centre is housed. So thank you, Howard, for putting up with me. And we have a good time together. We also keep out of each other's space when needed, but I love collaborating, but I'm an employee of one in the centre, so running all that, and also trying to create digital content in terms of booklets and pamphlets, material that sits there as a PDF and is accessible for people topic by topic. That's another thing that we have done in the past. Pretty low key at the moment, since we lost one of our employees due to a move down south last year. So that's slowed down a bit. But yeah, I'm kind of limited in online stuff, but I'm very excited by what I'm seeing. And as I say, I'm an ideas generator. I like to stimulate people's enthusiasm and interest in things, especially content creators like yourselves. And I'm loving the faces I'm seeing here. I know pretty much all of them, except I've just met Mark's wife, so nice to meet you, and Liz Cups. The others I'm more familiar with. So yeah, keep the conversation going is my my motto.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks very much. All right. So from here, what I'd really like to do, and we've got sort of 15 minutes left now, and we'll have another conversation tomorrow around Curtis's vision. Is everybody familiar with Curtis's vision or pointer? Yeah, good. Curtis, do you want to throw anything in, just say anything about it, just to kick us off?
Yeah. I think you can do it. Everybody can do it. It's Rosalind, you said maybe looking at the numbers go up and down. That's the hardest part of being a content creator. That's still what my world is. Is like, hey, last quarter we did great. Like our videos were, and now they're back down. Like it just never goes away. It's about like the fortitude and the will to just like, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this, and I hope to. So that the vision that David was talking about was a talk that I gave. If anyone didn't see it, at the General Church Assembly here, it was just a like sort of, well, in my mind, what if we all just decided we're going to try to accelerate this thing? What would we do to do that? And what I hope is that this year Swedenborg Foundation could take an active role in making that happen. And Sarah, you mentioned mid-funnel. What I want to try to do is get the top of the funnel more organized. And yeah, like if anyone's trying to do and what I mean by top of the funnel is you're trying to get easy to access stuff like a YouTube video. You just got to click on it that looks out to the world, and you get people into it. We want to make sure anyone who's trying to do that, we give you the tools and things you need to hopefully reach whoever you can reach, because everyone we just went through here, and everybody's got like a different approach, and they're reaching a different audience. And exactly, I think you're going to find that's how we scan through the internet and find where's the pockets of interest. And maybe you try something for a while and then so I would want to help that. But then there's some things like Sarah, you were mentioning that like this is mid funnel stuff, and meaning like this is like you take the next step and you become this, you're practicing this and you're signing up for things and you're showing up. And it's really hard for mid funnel stuff to try to be attention seeking top funnel stuff. What I want to do is create a network of top funnel creators, and we all sort of have this collaborative agreement that we send people to some kind of central hub. Maybe we make it on Swedenborg.com for now, and then see what gets spit out. And when you get there, there's all the mid-funnel stuff. So everybody's groups are listed there. Everybody's practice. We have, it's like Netflix, but for Swedenborg groups and Swedenborg courses. I would sort of break it out to that. So there should be a steady stream of people coming in there. And that's good for the top of the funnel people too, because it doesn't matter how much content you're putting out, people are going to get bored of you eventually. They need something more to grow with, and to have it stay fresh, and to come more and more to feel like, oh, I'm just someone who's discovering the Swedenborg thing. I'm an outsider, to eventually they end up feeling like I'm going to start my own channel. Or I am as responsible for the future of this movement as any of you are. That's what we're going to need to have this whole thing work. So I would want to actually help build that infrastructure, help populate it, drive people to the mid funnel, and bottom funnel would be sort of like in person or summits or something like what we're doing right now might be more of a bottom of the funnel thing. So I would say yeah, it's hard to do what we're doing, like what we're all doing. Um, and what I hope is to be able to provide some like air support through Swedenborg Foundation, where I can make it easier, remove some of the barriers, and so that's what I want to say.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to comment and question if anybody's got anything they want to, burning things they want to say or questions they want to ask.
I've got one question, David. Who's missing? There's no UK guys here, is there?
No, actually, there's not. I was expecting, because Jack Dunyan was very keen. So, look, one of the things I'm doing with this recording is I'll pop it on the Swedenborg social media network channel for people like Mark Pendleton's another one who expressed an interest but gave his apologies. Jack, and there's a couple of folk in the UK. So I know it's later at night in the UK at the moment, so maybe it's that, but I'm not sure what's happened there.
Yeah,
But there's
I was
plenty of people
surprised,
missing, that's for sure. Sorry, Joe?
surprised not to see Steve David or Stephen Russell Lacey or someone like that here. But I was very excited recently by looking at something which is a artificial intelligence generated podcast. Did you see that on the, yeah, like it's
It
just
was on,
this man and woman just talking about true Christianity. I think all the engine had been fed was the second copy of True Christian Religion. And I was blown away by the naturalness of the dialogue. There's not a single person that touched that content. You know, it was all machine generated, and it sounded very, very plausible and very representation. You know, like it represented the material fairly well. There's always things you can tweak, but I'm really excited by that possibility because that means less people, more visibility for those who are searching.
so there are a couple of channels that are producing AI stuff. You mentioned Stephen Russell Lacey. I noticed he's just put out another one fairly recently. And then there's Chain of Miracles, which Curtis, who was Chain of Miracles again? You said, mentioned a name.
Yeah, Kathy, I believe. Oh, I better go check now. But I think that's Kathy Condruff is her name. But
Yeah. Yeah. So also putting out AI generated stuff. One of the things that strikes me about that is it makes us up our game. You know, we have computers generating stuff that sounds like people. We need to be more personal or something. I don't know, but yeah, interesting thing about
That's
that.
a
But
strong
yes,
that's a strong theory of mine. I think that the rise of AI is like this opportunity to realize that these teachings need to be manifest in our lives and our actions. I'm excited to hear about what you guys are doing out in Carnwood to share real life stuff. You know, how are we really engaging that? Hopefully AI can't do that yet. Maybe someday they'll be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Howard.
Thank you. So I created a channel trailer to introduce myself. And the point that I made was I think it's important that people coming to the channel understand that I'm a person. I'm not a bot. I'm not AI. Now I say that, and it doesn't mean I don't use AI. AI images are cheap. There's no license. So I use AI images. I also use AI for my script writing. I think our colleague Mac Fraser put it best when AI first came on the scene, and he said, "It's probably a really good research assistant, but you would never put your name to their work." So I'll throw stuff at it and say, "Hey, what do you think? Can you write a script for this?" And it comes back. I've given it all the passages that I'd like incorporated. It'll come back with a script, and I'll say, well, that's sort of it, but and I'll come back at it again, come back at it again. I have recently started using the AI models, ChatGPT, and scripts that I get straight out of the New Christian Bible Study chatbot. And I'll give them the same instruction, and they are different. And then I'll give the two examples to both of them and say, which one do you think is better? So it's a very interesting collaboration. That said, personally, if I go to watch a video and it's a person walking across the screen who has 2, sometimes 3 legs, it puts me in a bad place. Not a bad place, but there's a lack of authenticity. So I think it has its place, but and I'm fascinated by what it can do. I'm in that middle ground. I don't really know the role it's going to play. I'm interested in it. I'm playing around with it, but I have my reservations.
I do think we have the advantage of being real people. I think that's quite important. Liz.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I did look at some of the an AI video that someone made, and I found it very disconcerting. It wasn't for me. Maybe there's an audience it was for. One thing was it said something about Bernathen, but then the images that went with it were not Bernathen. And I just wanted to say is if you want to talk about Bernathen and you need images, maybe give me or somebody a call or shoot me an email, be like, hey, do you have any pictures of the cathedral or whatever? Because I definitely do have those. I'm also an artist and I do a lot of the art for Debistry and one of our blogs called Excerpted Inspirations. And I definitely have taken reference pictures of all the stuff around here. And if there's something like you need someone to go to take pictures for or something, like if, because I will share with you a little, a picture of the cathedral you can use or whatever. Or if you need somebody to come take pictures of something that's going on in Bernathen, you can hire me. I will, for a small amount of money, go take pictures of your event. But I beg you not to use AI to try to make pictures of things that are real places and real people that aren't the real places or people, because like just watching that as a native of this area, I was like, that is not my town. It makes me feel weird. I didn't enjoy it. I would say if it is a real thing that you're talking about, I think it would work the best for scenes of heaven, like scenes of things that don't, exist physically here. But I would say it did not work so well for me to talk about my own community, because I'm like, hey, I actually live here. That's not what that is. So that's what I would like to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
Just was going to quickly say, I did a presentation recently at one of our national camps over here, and two out of the 10 groups that I'd given them all a number to work with from Swedenborg, and 2 of them used ChatGPT and they scanned it in because they said it didn't make sense, and they scanned it in and it gave them a pretty good version of what the text was literally saying. And I chatted to one of them afterwards because he works in that kind of field, and it was just a thought like of using that as a tool, as he said you could easily pop that on a website or somewhere where you've got that access to that kind of tool with people. I guess that's what New Christian Bible Study does too, but it was quite interesting that that's where they went straight away. I hadn't even thought to do that. So,
and it wasn't that it didn't make sense; it's just they didn't understand it. I think that's the.
I was talking about that afterwards with a few people, and I think what happens is people think that the concept, because the concepts are quite difficult, and I think they confuse the language with concepts being difficult. I think the natural mind just, when it doesn't understand something that's spiritual, it blames it on the language, and I think it's more
Sure.
But yeah, all of our videos have been AI produced, and it's just allowed us to do things that we haven't been able to just do before because of time. So
yeah. Ros, did you want to throw something in? Oh, you're muted. Yeah.
Unmute.
I can hear you now.
This is for Curtis about the funnels, because just thinking from Deborah's tree point of view, a lot of our bunch talks would be, I guess, at the bottom end, like people who are already Swedenborgian, good information for you to hear, and then our spiritual reflections that the pastors do once a week. Some of them are very much outward looking, and some of them are very much community looking, like already Swedenborgian. So we're sort of all over the place as far as funnels. So is that a problem? Should we decide what we really want to be, or like what'd you say?
I don't think it's a problem, because you can, it's very easy to separate out where those things are. If you're going to put one on social media and have one kind of on your website. No, I think you just if you have some energy and something that excites you and some people who can speak well about things, just do everything you can, because that's the raw material we need. But I would say you guys, and really it's a marathon to be able to keep doing it. And part of what lets you keep doing it is that you have to love what you're doing. So you have to have some freedom to move around and do whatever you want to do. So I'd say just more is better than none. So if you're excited to do this and this, do that. If we ever need to figure out the finer strategic points, we can. But the most important thing is that right now there's in the worldwide picture, there's a dearth of Swedenborgian content. That's what we need is to do that. And I think with AI, I think it's going to end up good. I think, creators don't need to worry too much, because I think what we really are ultimately, and what every movement has to have, is role models and relationships. And I think that's kind of what, you could maybe get the same text from a chatbot or an AI generated video. Eventually, that's not what people are looking for. There are a lot of people that people watch on YouTube, but they're just kind of especially in the spirituality or self-improvement or self-help or something. I want to see somebody that I can emulate in some way. So doing that is good. And then I think what the AI tools will do is lower that barrier to entry. So each one of us individually who's trying to make this stuff, it speeds that up. It makes it easier. So it's just if you have an impulse to share something from Swedenborg's concepts, it smooths that out. So I think it will end up good. There may be some places at the lip of the funnel for pure AI generated channel. Depends on how saturated everything, the whole internet gets with that. But yeah, I think there'll always be a need for some people that people can start to relate to and eventually want to meet. So.
Okay, thanks, Curtis. Look, I'm just looking, as I mentioned, when I was advertising these, I've got to draw a line under it now. I'm preparing for our Sunday service this morning. So we'll meet my 8 o'clock, so the same time basically tomorrow. And just so the intention for that will be so a bit more of a deep dive into the 4-point vision. And what I want to talk about is what we're doing already and what we can be doing. So both in terms of us as individual creators, what are you doing now to push the vision, 4-point vision forward? What are you intending to do in the future? What plans have you got? And then we also want to talk about us as a group. What can we together do to push the vision forward? So that's my hope for this time tomorrow. I can be a little bit more flexible with timing, just because I don't have the pressures of a service about to start. And we'll see where we go. But look, thanks for coming along, introducing yourselves this morning or this evening. It's been great to put put faces and voices to names, and look forward to chatting tomorrow. Thanks
for gathering us
everybody.
together. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Yeah. Thanks, David.
Have a great day. See you then. Bye-bye.